Hello there, fellow trendsetters. You know, all ages material, I find, is actually hard to pull off. Personally, as a creator myself, I find it limiting because there's just certain themes you just can't explore that just can't be shown to kids. Plus, you need to tone down the violence and tone down the language, and you know the idea. I'm just under the impression that I just can't write children's stories. But you know what? There's one man that can. And this man has actually made me change my stance on this. Maybe I can. Would you like to know who that man is and what comic it is? Find out in this latest episode of My Worthless Opinion. Cue music. Stop. Okay, so the man I'm talking about is Peter Lane. His comic series? Well, it's right here. Sky's Cavern Library. So, a little history lesson here, folks. Sky's Cavern Library was actually released way back in 1998. There was a second issue that was in the works, but sadly it never came out. Peter actually owned a comic book shop back in the 90s. Fast forward to 2021, where he meets Gary Della, a man who runs Reverie Publishing, offers to publish Sky's Cavern Library. And so Sky's Cavern Library was relaunched, and Pete was back in the saddle. He's actually released 6 issues so far. The 7th is actually on its way. Sky has also made guest appearances in other Australian comics. Pete gets a number of artists to work on in this comic. After all, he is the main writer and the creator. And I'll actually be reviewing the first 3 issues. So, the art. For the first issue, the art is actually done by Jason Paulos. And Jason Paulos, well, he actually works on the Phantom. Yeah, the Phantom. And his art style is pure, I would say, pure old school horror, which he's done for his old series, Eek. So it actually is a bit different seeing Jason actually work on something more friendly, I would say. But you know what? It actually works. The second issue, seen here, actually has Shane Foley. Wrong one, sorry. Correct myself there. Here. Here's the second issue. It's actually done by Shane Foley. But I just feel like Shane Foley could have done a better job with this, because his art just looks kind of a bit empty and probably rushed. But Rob Lyles brings it into on the second and third issue, like so. His cartoonish style actually sits well with this book. This one here, third issue, we got Mark Oliver. He brings it in with his art style that looks like he like just one Image Comics very nice. And even the good old Dave Dye actually gives us his interpretation of Sky's Cavern Library. So as you can see, this book gets different artists per issue, which makes things more interesting. So the story for the whole thing? Well, this comic actually has either 2 or 3 short stories per issue, right? And these stories are self-contained, they're straight to the point, they don't drag on unnecessary, it's just straight up entertainment, mainly aimed for kids, that adults can actually enjoy. So what's the premise? Well, simply enough, Sky and, I'll butcher this word, anamorphic, I think that's right, Arctic Fox and his assistant Chris, an elf from another dimension, look after a secret library. And most of these books in this library are actually portals which will transport the reader to that world. So, oh yeah, the possibilities and potential with this. You'll probably even see a bootleg Internet Rule 34 story on the net in the near future. So, the execution for this whole thing, well, as I mentioned earlier, Sky's Cabin Library is a comic mainly aimed at kids, which maybe the world of comics probably needs more to rope in a new generation of readers, I would say. The extra plus is that adults can actually enjoy this too, bringing back the kid in them, like I did. As far as I'm concerned, this is actually a highly potential creative goldmine, and Peter Lane, I will say it, is a genius. It's just a simple yet effective idea where artists can bring their A game to this. So the verdict for the whole thing? Well, pretty obvious. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. This series is just criminally underrated. Not only it deserves more attention, this deserves its own animated TV show, as far as I'm concerned. I would arguably say it's one of Australia's best comics that's going today, and I'd gladly give it to a foreigner that's looking for some good Australian comics. I mean, this series has even made me I should take on the Make a Comic for Kids challenge when I get around to it, of course. So you can always either obey me and start buying and supporting this series, or you can just say I'm just kissing ass on this. Well, whatever. It's nothing more than my worthless opinion. Please like and subscribe and all that. Oh yeah, and Pete, I wasn't kidding about my Internet Rule 34 statement. And